Just got to two, correct? Other than anybody call them three?
No reading. Marcelian. They look like Mercedes. Judy.
All right, you ready? 7 o'clock. 7:01. I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Supervisors to order here, July 11th, 2023. I'm going to ask Jerry if he would do an invocation, pledge of allegiance this time. Jerry, I'd like to mention the board is sorry about the loss of your brother, and we'll keep you in your prayers and your family.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for just bringing us this far. Lord, we thank you for our health and strength, activity of our limbs. Thank you for giving us strength as you keep on carrying on. We know with you we can do all things, without you we can do nothing. Lord, we thank those that are here tonight. Bless those that had a desire to be here, but for some reason not. You know all about it. That you be with the bereaved families this afternoon. Just pick them up and let them know earth has no sorrows that heaven can't heal. Heal the sick from the crown of their head to the sole of their feet. We know you're a doctor, never lost a patient, a lawyer, never lost a case. Lord, we come to the end of this old blessed world. All we ask that you give us a home somewhere in that kingdom, where the streets are paved with gold and there's many, many mansions. Continue to let the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts always be pleasing in thy sight. And continue to give us the knowledge, the wisdom, understanding, that we, the Board of Supervisors, continue to make decisions that continue to move Prince Edward County forward in a positive direction. And Lord, we know our decision will be best for all, not for a few, but for all, the betterment of this county. This is your servant's prayer in thy most holy and precious name. We all say it.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jerry. Doug, you want to read through that just to make sure? Good on that. At this time, ask for any conflict of interest. Anyone on the board? No. Recognitions now. Cheryl Simpson, please.
Good evening, members of the board. Recognitions is an opportunity for the Board of Supervisors to recognize achievements in our community with a focus on the accomplishments of students, employees, and our citizen volunteers who serve the county of Prince Edward. Would Katashi Wilder come up, please? So we're going to do this one, please. Y'all can hear me.
What do I do? Just stand? I'm standing right here next to me. Stand like I'm standing up here. Kim?
After you take your picture, did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay. The board would like to recognize Katashi Wilder, who works as a benefit program specialist at DSS, as Employee of the Month for July. Katashi is compassionate and a pleasure to work with. She is always willing to help anyone who has questions. Katashi is dependable, reliable, and responsible. Her engagement with coworkers improves the morale of others, and she is willing to go above and beyond for her team and clients. DSS Director Ken Allen stated, "It has been an extreme honor working with Katashi." Congratulations.
Thank you.
Put y'all up there against the.
Congratulations.
All right, moving right along, item 6, public participation. We have 2 people that signed up. Tim Dodson, Lockett District.
My name's Tim Dawson, I live I don't need the line next to Nottaway. My main reason here, I don't even want to be here. I don't like what you're doing about the flags, Confederate flag or the American flag. I think it's a sad day when you do what you're doing. And besides that, charging us a fee for an American flag, I call that dictatorship for all Asians, everyone Asians. And you, the last time I was here, you said, oh, you're worrying about signs, you're worrying about vulgar flags on account of children. And that's what you said?
I couldn't hear a word you said, sir. Can you speak to the mic, please?
Yeah. Last time I was here, you and the Jennings said about the flags, dirty signs, that you had to be something done on account of you didn't want the children looking at it. Right?
Right.
What are you gonna do about the drag queen stuff down there?
That's in the town of Farmville, sir.
Well, I don't care, but it's in town of Farmville. You live in the town of Farmville, yeah?
No, I do not. I live in
You ain't got
Prince
nothing
Edward
to do
County.
with town of Farmville?
No, sir.
No, sir. I don't
Just a
believe a word
meeting
of
at the
that.
Board of Supervisors, Prince Edward County.
Well, I don't really believe that. Be honest with you, I don't believe a word of that. I think it's all just like that. And I think you've got influence. And another thing I don't like is put the meeting for next Tuesday at 1 o'clock in the day when people's got to work. That ain't right. And I don't like you spending my taxpayer money fighting over a flag. Every time somebody comes through here whining about something or other, it's gonna be like that on and on. It ain't never gonna stop. You gotta stand up. I thought that's what we had, a judge, a jury, and Tony Epps to take them to jail. But no, you're just gonna do it all. And then make us pay. Thanks.
Next speaker is Julia, and I cannot pronounce the last name. Masurgeon, thank you.
Good evening.
Evening.
I live at what is my address? 567 Monroe Church Road in Rice. And I'm going to read my comments. It'll probably save us all a whole lot of time. Perhaps Mr. Jenkins has informed the board that several of my neighbors have contacted him about unsafe conditions for residents and visitors to Monroe Church Road. Excuse me. As an unmarked rural route, the speed limit is 45 for trucks and 55 miles per hour for cars. From just before Reservoir Road to Green Bay Road, Monroe Church narrows and has several blind curves, which makes even 40 miles per hour unsafe for pedestrians, bicyclists, and residents retrieving their mail and entering the road from their driveways. In November of last year, I was told by the local VDOT office that the county requested a speed study of Monroe Church Road in August of 2021. To the best of my knowledge, no study has been completed. In less than 1 mile, I counted 15 entrances on the east side of the road and 9 entrances on the west. According to VDOT's Traffic and Engineering Division, this should warrant a detailed field review. With the number of residences, rentals, and businesses on Monroe Church Road, I believe the road should be designated as a business and residential area with a speed limit that is appropriate for that designation. My husband, Paul, and I respectfully request the Board of Supervisors to and I'll be quoting here from your own strategic plan. Work with VDOT to ensure road safety. Develop creative solutions to community challenges and establish teams to solve specific challenges. Moving forward, I am sure quite a few residents would be happy to be included in discussions with the county and VDOT on how to creatively solve our neighborhood safety challenge. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one call in.
Mr. Chairman, you have one more citizen in the audience who would like to speak.
Okay, sure. Go right ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody.
You.
Afternoon.
I was here a few weeks ago, I guess y'all remember. And I was talking to Mr. Jenkins over here a few days ago. I kind of feel like I didn't really achieve the objective when I was here the last time, because what I wanted to present to the board involving the safety at 307 and 460 Rice. And although in talking with and speaking to Mr. Everett, Scott Everett,
Frederick.
I gave him what I'd like to present to y'all tonight. And what he's going to do with it, he said he would pass it to his superiors. Time will tell. But if I could I give you a copy of what I'm going to indicate here to what's on my mind? And it was brought to my attention when the headlines here some months back was, how do you avoid the, how do you avoid the accidents being happening at that intersection? And as we all know, they've made multiple changes there over the years. And the headlines just really caught my attention, and I figured the best thing for me to do is just give my input, since I'm the one sitting right on that corner. And that's what's in this diagram here tonight. I'm looking at the intersection of 307 going off to your left, and I'm on the left right here, Hicks. And then you got Farmer's Daughter on the right. You got Dollar General would be at 4 o'clock on the left. And that's prior to the Gully Tavern Road entrance there, left and right, 600. Y'all follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my proposal is what I have indicated in the red. When you're going east off of 460, you already have the sign in the air there, 307 left-hand turn, whatever it reads there, but it's 307 goes to your left. Rather than going up there to the turn where it's present there now, there would be a skyway is what we have in the red there. After you pass 600, you very well could access that overhead ramp, the skyway, that will go over the 4 lanes of traffic, which now is 3 lanes of traffic. It would drop down on your eastbound side of 307. Keeping in mind, you got to have at least 14 feet clearance between the bridge and the highway. And the same thing would apply coming west on 307. You could pick up with a skyway on 307 that would come down over 600. Y'all are familiar with the area there. Miss Cheryl Estes is on that corner. It would come past her driveway, and very well before that underpass, half a mile or so before that underpass, will be ample time and clearance for the Skyway traffic to exit back onto 460 going west. All of this will be contained within the median of the roadway. And in so doing, I still would propose, and I mentioned before, where Hubbard Road crosses up there, I think it should be at least a 45-mile speed limit zone up there. If it needs to extend beyond that to get the traffic to slow down, then I really think that would be the solution to this problem. All of you know we had a fatality out there last week. So I just pray to God that it's not going to take multiple fatalities for something to be done about it. I thank you all very much for your time. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
What is your name, sir?
Gregory Hicks.
Mr. Hicks.
Good work, Mr. Reed. Well done.
Thank you, sir. And ma'am, y'all have a good evening.
Thank you. Is that everyone?
Check and see if anybody online.
Cheryl, is anybody online?
No? Okay. We'll move on to supervisors' comments. David?
I just want to say thank you for everybody being here this evening. As you all know, this is your time to let us know what the problems are or not all the problems. I said, we appreciate everyone being here this evening. As you know, it's your time to present to us what you think the problems are, or if you have something good to say, we would more than welcome that also. Thanks for being here, really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here to hold us accountable. That's what we need. We need input and for you to express your concerns, your support, your questions. That's what we're here for. We want to interact with you. So we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to make this a priority.
Patty?
I'd like to say thank you for being here as well, and thank you for your comments. We do listen, we do hear, and I appreciate seeing those smiling faces in the audience. Thank you.
Yeah?
Echo the previous sentiments. Thanks so much for coming, and nice to have so many people here.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to see everybody. Hope you had a nice 4th of July, and we ask that you continue to come. Thank you much.
Thank y'all for being here, a good crowd, everybody interested in what's going on, that's what we need. So thank y'all for coming. Feel free to call me whenever you want to.
I'm glad to see everyone also, and we're going to handle the business of the county the best we can, and we always appreciate y'all coming and hearing from you. Thank you. Next item is consent agenda. Everybody's read over it. Got any changes, updates, comments?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion seconded. David?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Odessa?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Ms. Scott Frederick, Highway Matters.
Good evening, Chairman and Board, County Administrator Stanley. Thank you for having me tonight. Wanted to, once a year, I give an update on crashes for the Commonwealth and also for Prince Edward County, and I felt like it'd be fitting to do that tonight. I was planning to give it next month, but I'm going to do that here tonight instead and do it next month in Cumberland. So I get my data once a year from the Department of Motor Vehicles website. They have it broken down very nicely by jurisdiction. It's easy to sort and filter. So in the Commonwealth last year, 2022 crashes is what they had posted. So that's what I'm updating you on tonight. It's 2022 only. In the Commonwealth, there was 122,434 crashes. And in that year, there was 1,005 fatalities associated with those crashes. So just pause for a second to think about that. Our Secretary of Transportation has made the comparison to that's like 3 jetliners full of people, dying. And that would get a lot of people's attention if that was to happen, but it happens on our roads. And it sort of doesn't get that same attention, but that's a lot of people. So diving deeper into the numbers, there's 6,089,783 licensed drivers in the Commonwealth. And then the website also gives what they call a death rate. And for every 1,000 drivers, it's 0.0165. And that comes out to about one out of every 6,060 people, if you really crunch the numbers there. So then they give more data, and for contributing factors with those crashes, 6,910 crashes had alcohol as a contributing factor, 274 fatalities with that alcohol contributing factor. Speed as a contributing factor is 24,877 crashes, which results in 441 of those fatalities was associated with that contributing factor. And then the third contributing factor that they report on is unrestrained, or people not wearing their seatbelt. It's 5,427 crashes had that, and there's 375 fatalities associated with that. So if you add those numbers up, they add up to more than 1,005, and that's because somebody in theory could be speeding, drunk, and not wearing their seatbelt. So you could be a crash that falls into all the categories. But it's just a point I like to make is that it's obviously not okay to drink and drive, but so there's 274 fatalities that could have been avoided maybe if that one thing wasn't going on. And then speed, obviously, another 441, but it adds up quick. Just those 3 things. The Federal Highway Administration, on their website, there's data about how much more likely you are to survive if you just wear your seatbelt. I think it's 60% more likely in a light truck and 45% more likely to survive a crash in a passenger vehicle. So they also break it down by jurisdiction, like I said. In Prince Edward County in 2022, there was 316 crashes and 8 fatalities. I remember Doug calling me about several of them. It just seemed like there was one after another for a little while there. There was a lot that year. There's 12,015 licensed drivers in the county, and that death rate that the website gives is 0.67 per 1,000, which comes out to 1 out of 1,492. So that's really sobering to me when it gets broke down to the county level, because in a year's time, I'm sure I interact with at least 1,400 people. So a lot of times when I read these numbers, I think like 1 out of the people I interact with in a year could be that one person. So I always remind my friends, I'm going to encourage you, tell your friends and family and coworkers, don't drink and drive, don't speed, and wear your seatbelt to help bring those numbers down. So in the county, the contributing factors are also posted. Alcohol-related crashes, there was 27, 3 fatalities associated with them. Speed-related, there were 62 crashes, 2 fatalities associated. And unrestrained, 26 crashes, 7 fatalities. So, I mean, think about wearing your seatbelt, 7 fatalities. If that would have worked, I mean, we'd still, would have been great to avoid those 7 or any of them for that matter. So a lot of times people come to me and they'll say, the road's doing this, or what can you do to fix this problem or that problem? And they're not wrong to ask me. VDOT does play a role in reducing the crash rate. It's a 3-legged stool example I'll give is, one of the legs on the stool would be engineering of the roads and the maintenance thereof. So that's something that helps to, have good roads and keep them maintained. So I'll ask the question is like, what's our best engineered roadway we have in the Commonwealth? And the answer is the interstate system. It's, every curve is designed. It's got full lane widths, full shoulders, The hills are perfect, everything's perfect. If I asked you if there were still crashes on the interstate, you'd say yes. So we play a role in the design and maintenance of the roadways. We don't have full control over the crashes. One of the other legs on the stool is law enforcement, holding people accountable to the posted laws for the roadways. And then the third leg on the stool is the driver. Having a well-educated driver that's fully engaged in driving, not distracted. Because I'm sure if there was a category for contributing factor of distracted driving, it would be through the roof. So I wanted to point that out. And then another thing, the Federal Highway Administration. So those, the three-legged stool, they all start with E, if you noticed: engineering, enforcement, education. The Federal Highway has what they call the 4 E's to reducing fatalities. The fourth E is emergency response. Prince Edward County does a great job with enforcement and emergency response. And I like to think that VDOT's putting its best foot forward with the roads. We really need to work on educating our friends, our family, and our loved ones on the laws on the roadways. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit, and following up from last month's meeting, we did complete the speed study for Route 460 in the 307 area, and we have determined that we're going to lower the speed limit on the westbound side of 460 through that intersection. And we've got the signs on hand. We've marked the utility locates. We've got everything in place to do that. And had the weather not kind of hampered us coming out of the weekend, we would have had it done by today. But I think by Thursday, late, we'll have it done, and if not, by Friday morning.
That's separate than the sign that says safe speed for, like, I've seen that there already.
Right, yeah, we're gonna actually have the yellow diamond-shaped sign where it says 45 ahead, then we'll have the white regulatory signs, say 45 miles per hour. Then after you come through the intersection, it'll go back up to 60. So that is, that was something you guys and the sheriff's office has requested a long time ago, and we got the speed study done. I don't know if you saw the tubes out there counting traffic, but that was part of that. We had to follow all the right steps to get it done, and we've gotten it done. When we place those new speed limit signs, we're going to put a message board up that we call a speed mirror, which will post flashing the driver's actual speed back to him to let him know how fast he's going as he's approaching that new speed zone. And we're going to leave those signs in place for a while until drivers are used to that new condition out there. So I think that'll help people realize that there's a new speed limit out there and help them adhere to it. So then there's also some striping work that's being performed this week around the islands, and then some tubular delineators or bollards are going to be placed to help channelize off that right turn lane, and then also coming off of the other island is going to have bollards around it to help the traffic merging from 307 onto 460 realize that they're going into their own lane. We also, this week, or late last week, it's all running together in my head now, but we did some more paving work, and we redid the crossover, and we moved the yield line up about 8 feet. And we put a striped in median to help encourage a driver to kind of square up to where he's looking more out his side window to look up 460. We met with the Rice Fire Department earlier. That was, they had the concern that a vehicle with a big mirror and a big A-pillar could, in theory, pull up and a car be blocked by the mirror, and they pull out before they ever see the car. But so that change we made with the striping will encourage a better maneuver there. So that was something else I wanted to point out. And then some longer term projects that we have is, and I mentioned them last month, but we're working on the design of an intersection conflict warning system. And that's what we have over in the Prospect area. Well, on 460, when a driver pulls up to the side street there, I think it's 626, it starts flashing on 460 to let them know a car may cross. So we're working on the design for that. We're also working on an overhead lighting design for the intersection of 307 to help it at nighttime have better visibility, and for drivers to be aware of, the geometry and things like that as they approach. And then the other thing that we're working on, which is a longer term project, is we're doing a traffic signal analysis to see if it does warrant the installation of a traffic signal. We did that prior to that smart scale project, and at that time it didn't, but things do change with time, so we'll see what that analysis says when it's completed. So that was really all that I came prepared to present on tonight. But I was going to see if you guys had any specific questions for me.
Scott, I have a concern.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
sign right after you cross Nottaway County line into Prince Edward said new traffic pattern ahead. It's so far back, by the time they get up there, they already forgot about there's supposed to be a new, it needs to come closer to where, at least where that, I think Crossroads building is, somewhere up in that area, so people will know that there's something new right there. They see the sign back there, they don't see any change, and then all of a sudden, they rolled up on the change. I think that is entirely too far back close to the county line.
Yes, ma'am. I'm glad you brought that up. I meant to mention that. It's something that you mentioned to me last month. And
Yeah, Cameron did.
actually, we're going to have that sign removed. All the orange barrels and everything that's temporary is coming down when they work by hopefully Friday, weather permitting. And then at that point, we'll just have that message board that flashes your speed and the new permanent install. But that sign is pretty far back, and I apologize for it being like that. But so thank you for bringing that up. I did mean to mention about all the temporary traffic control devices are going to be removed this week.
Thank you.
Anything else from?
We have a gentleman in the office who wanted to ask a question. David?
You mentioned that the reduction in the speed
Yes, sir.
for the intersection. How far up the intersection going east is it going to post that sign?
Traffic operations actually came with me tonight. I don't know the exact way to state it. It's near Hubbard Road
Okay.
is where
It's gonna start out as 50.
starts out as 50.
Throughout the 45, right before you get to the intersection.
Okay. Is it 60 as you approach, it's gonna go to 50, then 45?
50 and 45.
Okay.
So we'll start to decrease, before Hubbard Road.
I think it's back prior to where we merged down to one lane.
Before the curve is where the 50. Where the
Okay.
curve is, yeah, it starts at 50 before the curve.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Any other members?
Scott, just some of the trees, maybe a lot of good trees along, there's some on 460 and also some on, I guess that's Prospect Road, is how it comes out, the old 608 came out of Prospect and came back up to 460. And along the road, branches need to be trimmed.
Yes, sir. I was talking about school starts back August the 7th, so we're gonna try to circle through the county and cut all the limbs back ahead of when the buses start running again. But thank you for reminding me about that.
Forget the bridge, Rick, I mentioned last.
Anything else?
I guess y'all are working on the bridge railing on Douglas Church Road where the tree fell on and broke it.
Yeah, I better write that down, but yes, sir.
Scott, can you address one of the citizens was asking about a speed study on Monroe Church Road? Is that something you
Oh.
can get over?
You guys are doing a good job at reminding me of stuff tonight. Right, I think it was June 23rd, I submitted that. That was a rural rustic project that was built, I'd say over 20 years ago. And normally when a rural rustic gets built, our new practice is to have it studied and have it signed 35 miles per hour, which is, an unpaved road is already 35 mile an hour statutory speed limit. So the rural rustic program takes a gravel road and paves it to keep people out of the dust and the mud. So we keep the speed limit the same after we resurface it, but I submitted Monroe Church Road to be reviewed as a rural rustic, and coming out of that study, I'm hopeful we'll sign it for 35 miles per hour.
On the Monroe Church Road, you reckon you ever cut the brush back off the banks a little bit, make it look wide, so people will stay to the right-hand side?
Oh, yeah, well, we work towards cutting brush
Banks
back.
A little bit to brush and stuff.
Yes, sir.
How about a no-through sign, no-through traffic, for the ones that cut through Monroe Church? to cut
Well,
through 60?
the highways are open to all users, but one thing you could do is try to restrict truck traffic if there's a lot of trucks cutting through. But that would require the board to support that, request it to be
Cut out
restricted.
Some of the traffic, a lot of people just go through that just to get to the Green Bay Road on 460.
Yes, sir.
Extra traffic that could go 696 down 460 instead of cutting to the A.
Yeah, yes, sir.
People walking and stuff, you eliminate some of the traffic.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think Green Bay Road is a much better road than for traffic, so. But it's open, it's unrestricted for use. But
Does the board need to do a resolution to request no trucks on Monroe Church?
yes, they would have to request that for VDOT to study it, and then if we decide that it's appropriate to sign it, we would sign it for no trucks, but it would require them to take action and request it to be restricted, no through trucks. Is that what the board's pleasure would be?
I think it helped the traffic. I mean, I know
That's
people
fine.
really don't obey signs, but they would start to do it. That's right, that's a no through route, keep on going.
No through trucks. I can't,
Yeah.
it's a public highway, so you can't keep cars out of it.
You cut back some of it.
I would say we should.
Yes.
Okay.
We need to take a vote on
You want us to draft a formal resolution put on the agenda next month? Is there anything?
That would give you guys time to think it through. Okay. But yes, sir, please. That's in the Board of Supervisors manual on how to do that.
it? Okay.
All righty. But, Oliver. If there's nothing else, thank you, Board, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate everything. Move along, item 10, Briarwood Drive. Doug, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'm gonna try to get this knocked out for a public hearing since Scott's still here. In your packet, you have an attached resolution, support documentation. Scott Frederick, residency engineer, certified that the section of Briarwood Drive has been brought up to minimum state standards and is eligible for inclusion into VDOT secondary road system. 2006 and 2007 recordings for Stagecoach Run Sections 1 and 2 are included in your packet along with a letter from Mr. Frederick and a draft resolution the board would need to approve. Basically, the resolution is stating that the streets in the described attached resolutions form fully incorporated by reference are shown on plats of the Stagecoach Run subdivision, meet the requirements for inclusion into the state highway system. Scott, do you have anything else? I mean, you've inspected Briarwood.
Yes, sir. The work that was done out there to bring it back up to our standards, satisfactory. So after you guys take your action tonight, then we'll start taking the steps to properly get it put in.
Motion.
I'd say.
I move that the Board of Supervisors adopt the attached resolution and add a section on Briarwood Drive into the secondary system of state highways pursuant to 33.1-229 of the Code of Virginia and that the VDOT secondary street requirements.
We have a motion, seconded. Bill?
Yes.
Dessa?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Jerry? David? And my vote is yes. We'll move on to the public hearings. Cheryl?
Good evening again.
Good evening.
As the board is aware, the Prince Edward County Public Schools is requesting appropriation of a total of $1,300,877.67 of additional federal and state funds for the 2023-2024 school year. Prior to the expenditure and in accordance with 15.2-2507 of the Code of Virginia, the board will hold a public hearing to increase the FY24 county and school budgets, accepting the distribution of federal funds and appropriate the funding to the FY24 county and school budgets. Attached is the copy of the school's request for appropriation of additional funds that represent the plan of expenditures.
Do we have a motion?
Open public hearing.
You gotta have,
Oh,
open the public
Excuse me.
hearing.
Open the public hearing, I'm sorry.
Sarah, keep checking, if anybody signed up. Nobody signed up for this one.
All right.
I move that the Board of Supervisors approve the budget supplement request and appropriate.
Just before you do, yeah, we need to close the public hearing.
Better close it first. Lou, close the public.
All right, we'll close the public hearing then. Then we move on for your motion.
This is all non-local money, it's all state and federal money. I
Right.
move that the Board of Supervisors approve the budget supplement request and appropriate the same fund.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. David?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Dessa?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And my vote is yes. Next item, Robbie Love, please.
Yes, sir.
Request from Mark Smith.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening. County had received an application from Mark Smith doing business as Sandy River Distillery for special use permit to operate a restaurant and brew pub along with provisions for mobile food establishments on tax map parcels 153-A27C2 and 153-A-27C3. This is at the distillery site that is 147 Monroe Church Road. The public hearing notice was duly advertised in the Farmville Herald. Adjoining property owners were notified. You have letters in your packet. I've also included a tax map of the parcel. The Planning Commission held their advisory public hearing on June 20th, where there were some comments both in support and opposition, and 2 letters of opposition had been received, which are attached in your packet. The Planning Commission, after hearing all public comments, unanimously recommended approval with conditions, forwarding those to you. You have those in your place setting. County staff is of the opinion that the use is compatible with the zoning district and will have minimal impacts on surrounding properties. The applicant is here, and of course, I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any members have questions for Robbie? Open the public hearing, then we had one person signed up, Mary Elizabeth.
Hey, I'm Mary Elizabeth. I work at Sandy River. Obviously, I'm in favor of this. all of our guests and everyone is always asking if we have food on our premises. So I just think it would be another amenity to the distillery and the resort that would bring more people in. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the only one we had sign up, I believe, Doug, isn't it? Anyone else would like to speak? We'll close the public hearing then. How would the board like to proceed here?
I move that the Board of Supervisors approve the special use permit by Mark Smith doing business as Sandy River Distillery for a special use permit for a restaurant and brew pub along with provisions for mobile food establishments with the following conditions. And I don't see any conditions listed.
Yeah, that's the planning commission, they're in your packet.
Oh, they're in the packet, okay.
We have a motion, seconded. Bill?
Yes.
Dessa?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Ready?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
My vote is yes. All right, our next one is for Mr. Napier. Robbie, please.
Yes, sir. Members of the board, the county received a special use application from James Robert Napier to establish a truck yard for the purpose of creating a towing and recovery operation on tax map parcel 115-A-36. This parcel is split by 360. Part of it's on the Free State Road side and part of it's on the Price Gee Road side, which both are State Route 630. This was duly advertised in the Farmville Herald. Adjoining property owners were notified, and you have the parcel outlined in blue in your packet on an aerial photo. The Planning Commission held their advisory public hearing on June 20th, where there were some comments in opposition. However, the Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval with the conditions that are in your packet. The purpose of this special use permit, the applicant wants to create a 200 by 130 fenced-in area with an office building on Free State Road, and then a future 200 by 200 overflow lot on Price Gee Road for the purpose of temporary vehicle storage. Vehicles will be brought and stored as on-site as needed. The applicant is here, and I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have concerning this application.
Okay. Any members have any questions?
I will state, as part of the conditions, we do have full perimeter screen fence per our screening ordinance that we're doing on all sites. So that is part of the conditions in this site, so you will not see vehicles.
Okay. We'll open the public hearing. We didn't have anyone sign up. I don't know if anybody called in.
Mr. Chairman, we received a letter, and I would like to read it so it goes in the record. And it was an email to the Prince Edward County Board of Supervisors. I am opposed to Mr. Napier establishing a truck yard and an overflow lot on Free State Road and Price G Road. It sounds like it could become a junkyard with a 200-car overflow lot, and I feel that this location is not appropriate for this type of business. I do not want it across from my property. Sincerely, Mary Whitlock.
Thank you, Doug.
That's
Mr. Napier.
Hey, my name is James Napier. I'm on a backwards tone. Mr. Love told me about the opposition, and we knew we had a little bit at the planning commission, but per Mr. Faircloth's thing, I got went and found a copy of the survey and had the front lines marked that he was the next day. And also, I took some pictures of the neighbors, if you want to see, which Mary Whitlock's property is actually located in Lunenburg County, according to the tax map, the records that I checked today. But this is not like I'm gonna put it in somebody's, like in a fancy neighborhood or anything. I've got a couple pictures if you want to see them of the property as of today at 2 o'clock, and a picture of an operation we got today. The top one is gonna be Ms. Whitlock's property, the second is gonna be Mr. Faircloth's property, and the bottom is gonna be the lot we operate currently now. And I guess you got the picture where I said everything's gonna be The overflow lot is gonna be all the way at the back of the property against the railroad tracks and 360 far away from Ms. Whitlock's and Mr. Fairclough's property. The other lot over here with Ms. Bass, she has no trouble. Spoke to her several times, fixed her driveway a couple of times from, washouts and stuff. I actually may have to set the fence back for my neighbor across the road. He may end up needing some parking at the old SPCA. I hadn't seen him, hadn't talked to him, but I think they're gonna do some kind of food truck operation. I see him doing some work. And if he needs some extra parking, I'm gonna set the fence back to, try to make everybody neighborly friendly. But, and the concern about the junk vehicles, on Ms. Winlock property, there was like 2 junk vehicles, and the same thing at Mr. Fairclough's. He was concerned in the planning commission. I'm sure you see it about some junk vehicles and oil and stuff. Well, hard to complain on me when you already got them on your property, I just wanted to address that, and I don't think, Mr. Love, have you had any complaints since I've been here in 2020?
No, sir.
There's none to my knowledge either. No neighbors has called, nobody's had any complaints. We try to keep it, looking good. And like I said, I'm gonna set this thing all the way back, and it's actually gonna help. The other concern was that seeing the price G, well, we're gonna cut all that timber. It's not gonna be no timber between the 360 and Price G, so you're gonna actually be able to see that whole corner. And I'll probably end up putting some of them shrub trees that you see around that lot at the back. It all depends on how, everything looks, to try to make it all look good on that side. Did you have a yard already on? Yes, sir. I rent that property. See, I bought this piece of property from the tax sale, and they had the same opportunity I did to buy it, and nobody even bidded on it, none of them that I know of. And I'm gonna be back, and eventually, I'll probably move from where I'm at now, everything to the Maharan location, yeah. And that's why I want the overflow lot. We fooling with these campers and stuff, and it's so hard for the insurance company to find anybody to move them. They may sit there, they may blow a tire and tear up something, and somebody may have to fix them, and they might have to sit there for a week or 2. When you get 2 of them, you don't fill it up for. Yes, everything is behind, everything is out of sight. The biggest lot will be seen probably would be the SPCA side. Nobody's really complained till Ms. Whitlock did today, but like I said, her property is actually located in Lunenburg County. Thank y'all.
Thanks for choosing Prince Edward.
Thank you.
I have one question. I remember in the planning commission meeting, there was a question about your entrance, where the property line was. You said you did get
Yes, sir. I
surveyed.
got them to mark that the next day. I actually run into the previous owner at another tax sale in Lunenburg, and it was actually surveyed in 17. And a little bit of confusion was, I guess when they built 360, I was reading the old numbers. They actually ended up moving the road. They twisted the road across. So it actually used to be farther, like in the woods now, and they moved it back this way. So we took care of that the next day. Caught the surveyors right. It was raining. They run down there. They were slow, so it all worked out the next day. Like I said, I've even put millings on it. Just got them sitting there just to show good faith that I'm not gonna start no muddy road. I gotta have them rather this day or at home. So it was no big deal to show that I'm gonna try to keep the neighborhood. And like I said, I'm gonna probably end up moving the fence back for the guy that bought the old SPCA, because he's probably gonna need some more parking from me looking at it. So if he needs that, I'll just slide the fence back and narrow me up, but I'll have his overflow lot, and he can use the front when nobody's there to park. So he can keep his business rolling, the neighborhood flows, and Maharan's growing, so that's all that matters.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Any more questions from the board? We'll close this public hearing in. Have a motion from the board members? Motion's made and seconded.
Just to clarify, that's a motion to approve with conditions as recommended by the Planning Commission.
All right, we'll have our vote. David?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Dessa?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Next item, Finance Human Resource Report.
Nope, we've got one more related to this project.
Is
For
it?
the other side.
Oh, it is, I'm sorry. We'll go ahead and open this one up then.
You want me to give you an intro on this, sir?
Yep,
Okay.
please.
Members of the board, this is related to the public hearing you just held. This is an application by Mr. James Robert Napier for 2 illuminated signs. The fact that they are, with their height and their illumination, requires this public hearing. So we received this application from him. He wishes to put 2 signs, one in each lot that he's looking to create, the 40 square foot, which is their pole sign limitation, with a total height of 15 feet on US 360 East at its intersection with State Route 630. This is on the Free State Road side. And then a 40 square foot pole sign with a total height of 8 feet on 360 West at its intersection with Price Gee Road, which is also 630. This public hearing was duly advertised in the Farmville Herald. Adjoining property owners were sent notifications. Planning Commission held their advisory hearing. There were a couple comments in opposition, but the Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval, forwarding this to you all. With conditions, there are, I think, 9 conditions in your packet. I've had no further comments from the public since the Planning Commission meeting up till tonight concerning this application, for or against it. I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have. The applicant did provide a picture of an existing sign that sort of like what these would look like, but they would be eliminated.
All right, we'll open this public hearing. Anyone like to speak? Any questions from the board? Nobody called in, I don't guess? No. All right, we'll close the public hearing and ask for the pleasure of the board.
Move that the board approve special use permit. Special James Napier of installation of 2 linear pole signs following conditions listed in the plan.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. David?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Hattie?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Dessa?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And my vote is yes. All right, now we'll move to item 12, Finance Human Resource Report. Cheryl, please.
Doug, are you going to cover the first one? The CSA? Or do you want me to?
You can go ahead and cover it.
Okay. So as you may or may not be aware, I am the Director of Finance and HR, but I've also been serving as the CSA Coordinator for Prince Edward County since I became employed here in 2015. I've done a good job, I think. Went through 2 inspections. We've done fairly well. It's not in line with my current duties as the Director of HR and Finance, so we have discussed with Doug and the DSS Director, and DSS has an individual that is interested in the position, and it would meet in line with her duties. We're recommending that you consider a change in a staff self-sufficiency position in DSS to a program coordinator position and include the CSA coordinator duties in the position. We receive approximately $13,000 for administrative support from the Office of Children's Services, and the county would transfer up to $7,500 to cover the additional duties of the CSA coordinator to DSS at the beginning of the fiscal year, if approved by the board. Fiscal responsibility for the CSA program would reside within our office. Staff are also recommending that Doug continue as the Board of Supervisor representative on the CPMT and appoint me as the alternate. I've included the job description for the CSA coordinator, and that kind of just describes what the duties are and the responsibilities for the position. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, any questions for Cheryl? Have a motion?
I move that the Board of Supervisors approve the CSA coordinator duties to be changed to the DSS with fiscal responsibility to remain with the county offices and CSA administrative funds up to $7,500 to be transferred to DSS each fiscal year to support funding the position. I further move that Mr. Stanley continue as the Board of Supervisors representative on the CPMT and Ms. Simpson is appointed as the alternate.
Motion's made and seconded. David?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Hattie?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Dessa?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
My vote is yes.
Moving on to item 12B, unpaid leave for organ donation and bone marrow leave. On May 22nd, One Digital provided information on SB 1086, which states that Virginia has passed the unpaid leave for organ donation legislation. SB 1086 requires employees with 50 or more employees to provide organ donation and bone marrow donation leave to any eligible employee starting July 1, 2023. Organ donation leave provides for leave of an eligible employee for the purpose of donating one or more of their organs, including bone marrow, to be medically implanted in another individual. An employee's organ donation leave will not impact an employee's ability to take federal FMLA leave within the same year. Virginia law expressly states that organ donation leave is separate from federal FMLA leave. The leave is unpaid and requires employers to restore employees to the position they held prior to taking their leave, or to an equivalent position with equivalent pay, benefits, and other terms and conditions of employment. The law also includes a schedule for violations, including up to $5,000 for repeat offenses. I've included attachments for the One Digital Compliance article, and then I've also included Chapter 3 of Title 40.1, Article 2.2 from the 2023 session approved April 12th of 2023.
Move that we approve the change to county personnel policy as described, effective immediately.
You have a motion?
Second.
Seconded. David?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Hattie?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Dessa?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
My vote is yes.
Next item is insurance coverage for the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff's Department received payments from VACOR claims totaling $4,489.36. The board is asked to appropriate the same, the Sheriff's Department vehicle repair line item to cover repair costs.
Second.
Have a motion, seconded. Bill? Dessa?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Hattie?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
My vote is yes.
Next item is appropriation for ARPA equipment grant. The Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services has awarded Prince Edward County Sheriff's Department $414,030 through the ARPA Law Enforcement Grant Program for equipment. This is a reimbursement grant to which no local match is required. The board is asked to appropriate these funds so that the sheriff's office may begin the ordering process.
So moved.
Motion made and seconded. David?
Yes.
Jerry? Harrison?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Dessa?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
My vote is yes.
And the last item is ATL funding appropriation. The county has received a check in the amount of $59,680 from the Virginia Department of Fire Programs for the FY23 Virginia Fire Fund, Aid to Localities. These funds pursuant to Section 38.2-401 Code of Virginia shall be used only for fire department equipment and supplies, safety programs, and training. The board is asked to approve the appropriation and issue the funds as you see below.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Patty?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Dessa?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
My vote is yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shirley.
Thank you.
Next, county's attorney's report. Terry Atkins Wilson, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Evening.
We've had a busy month. Of course, we worked on, of course, as my job on the IDA, we've done some work there, getting some lots under contract and moving forward with that. On the county level, we had a tax sale, as y'all might recall, and we had a plat that needed to be put to record. And we're working on getting the signatures necessary to put that that plat on record so it can go back out for the tax sale. We had a meeting on the 7th, someone's birthday, to get an update on the county ordinances to try to move forward to tackle, one or two of those per month so we can move on forward through those. As you know, we've had a petition and order for the BZA appointment from last month's meeting, and reviewed the contract for the Berkeley Group for the tax reassessment. And we're also working on letters. Cheryl got us the top 10 folks that have a little balance due on their waste dumpage, and we've gotten letters sent out to those folks for collection. So, not aware of any major legal issue before the county, but anybody have any questions or concerns? All right, thank you all very much for allowing me to serve.
Thanks, Jerry. Next, Doug, your report, please.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, staff held a county facility tour for new board members Harrison Jones and Kenna Watson yesterday. Unfortunately, Bill's schedule changed, and I told him, I said, we'll get him out there and get out and take a ride around as well in the next few weeks. Registrar Lynette Wright has provided the cost for the June Republican primary election for all salaries, rent of polling locations, and early voting. The county spent $23,621.97. Unfortunately, our second candidate dropped out too late. I got asked a lot of questions on why we continuing to operate the polls, and it was because it was past the deadline and we had to continue. So each of the, I think, 5 counties that cover that House district had similar cost. Chelsea White has resigned as our Economic Development and Tourism Director. We have an ad out in the Herald, and we also posted with VACO, VML, and the Virginia Economic Developers Association, as well as Indeed, and we're hopefully going to be able to get some qualified candidates here in the next few weeks to start the interview process, and I'll reach out to members of our personnel committee to join in and help participate in that process. I want to report that our backup generator here at the courthouse has been, the radiator's been repaired, and we've been able to get rid of our portable generator. Also want to report and thank Cheryl. She was able to get our annual grant for DEQ for anti-litter submitted. Last year, the county received $11,294 in grant funds, which we use to pay for recycling of TVs and computer monitors to keep those from going into our landfill. Domestic Violence Services, as of June 15, Steps became the owner of the former Madeline's House Shelter Facility, thanks to a donation by Ellery and Robin Sedgwick. Steps will be working with the state to hold a stakeholder meeting in August to further their efforts to receive recognition and funding from the state as a provider for the region for domestic violence and sexual assault victims. Effective July 1st, they also received a $25,000 grant to assist with funding a services coordinator position through the Virginia Department of Social Services. Our Industrial Park Access Road project was paved last week. If you haven't had a chance to go out across from the Y, that project is coming along nicely. We hope the contractor will have everything seated by August 1 and have that project wrapped up. County recently completed some required dam inspections of the Sandy River Dam and associated gates, the tower, risers, valves, the outfall, and the spillway. We had an outside contractor, TRC, perform those inspections. As part of that, we note we've got a few deficiencies with gates on the riser. They may require either replacement or repair, and we'll be working with the Properties Committee to look at those recommendations. Our Rice Convenience Site is substantially completed. We've got a few things the contractors got to finish up. I saw today they were pulling equipment off the site. County staff have to go in. We have to get our attendant building put in, power hooked up. We're hoping grass will start growing on the site as well. But we hope to have the facility open around the 1st of August
and we'll try to schedule a ribbon cutting event for that opening. That's it. I know there's a handful of Board of Supervisors engagement opportunities coming up here in the next few weeks, so if we'll continue to try to make sure that the board is aware of those dates and times and locations so that you can get the opportunity to be out and in the public. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman, unless there are any questions.
Thank you, Doug. Anyone have any questions? Doug? And we have the upcoming dates. Monthly reports. Any comments, questions about those?
You've got about, I think, 3 items on your addendum pack, Mr. Chairman.
One little item about animal control. I understand Richmond has got a type of epidemic virus going through some of theirs. I don't know whether it's going to affect us or not. We're out of the range, I hope. Addendum pack here. Item 17.
I'll handle that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
So America 250 is a multi-year effort to commemorate the semi-quincentennial or the 250th anniversary of the United States. This effort is being led at the national level by the nonpartisan U.S. Semi-Quincentennial Commission created by Congress and its supporting nonprofit America 250 Foundation, with a mission to catalyze a more perfect union by designing and leading the most comprehensive and inclusive celebration in our country's history. America 250 represents a coalition of public and private partners, all working to create initiatives and programs that honor our first 250 years and inspire Americans to imagine our next 250. The commemoration period began in 2020, culminates on July 4, 2026, and officially concludes in 2027. The Virginia American Revolution Commission was created by the General Assembly for the purpose of planning for and commemorating the 250th anniversary of the Virginia's participation in the American Revolution, the Revolutionary War, and the formation of the nation. Planning for the statewide and national event has already begun and culminates in 2026, and then continuing beyond. Each locality has been asked to form a 250 committee and designate to begin planning for the multi-year period. The State Commission will provide grant opportunities and technical support. With the departure of Chelsea White, the board will wish to update the county's liaison to our county marketing assistant, Molly Kinahan. So the recommendation is that the board appoint Molly as our representative, and so that she can continue to attend those meetings and keep us informed of what's going on.
Second.
Have a motion and seconded. Bill?
Yes.
Dessa?
Yes.
Hannah?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
David?
Next item is the Virginia 250 Tourism Marketing Program Grant. They'll be having a number of grant opportunities through the year, and I'll try to make this concise here, but we're proposing the development of a history display on Prince Edward County for the Visitor Center. As the board may be aware, and Mr. Jordan has already left us, but Highbridge, the displays in the Visitor Center for Highbridge will be transferred to the Highbridge Trail Visitor Center when it opens later this fall. The proposed visual display will feature a captivating timeline showcasing significant local milestones from the county's 250-plus years and how they intertwine with America's 250-year journey. It will include maps illustrating old boundaries, historical artifacts, and other displays. To enhance the visitor experience, the project will incorporate an interactive element utilizing audio and videography to offer an educational journey. The cost of the project is estimated at $20,000. $10,000 would come from grant funding with a $10,000 match, and we can use some of our tourism dollars to be able to provide that match. The funding round will open July 18th with a maximum award of $10,000, and we'd like to be in the queue for the first round of grants, and still gives us the opportunity to apply for more down the road, but with with Highbridge taking that display, we want to make sure we've got something back in the visitor center for folks to be able to see.
Mr. Chairman, the agenda summary states that a resolution is required, but through research, we've determined that the board has already adopted the required resolution. So tonight, all you would wish to consider is authorizing the local match, if you so choose. But you've already adopted the needed resolution.
So moved.
Motion's made
Second.
and seconded. David?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Odessa?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Closed session next.
You ready? I move that the Board of Supervisors convene in closed session for the discussion and consideration of, let's see what it is. Sorry about that. I need to go back to the front page.
I can read it for you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Provision of legal advice by such counsel relating to properties adjoining the county boundary pursuant to the exemption provided for in section 2.2 3711A8 of the Code of Virginia.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. David? Jerry? Harrison?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Odessa?
Yes.
Bill? My vote is yes. Moving to closed session.
I have it.
Patty has it.
Patty's got this button by accident.
Oh, look at you. Like that.
All right. I move that the Board of Supervisors return to open session. Is there a second?
Have a
David.
motion,
Thank
seconded.
you. Roll call vote?
Bill?
Yes.
Tessa?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
My vote is yes.
Whereas the Prince Edward County Board of Supervisors has convened in closed session on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the board that such closed session was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be resolved that the board hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements of Virginia law were discussed in closed session to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed session was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the board. I'm going to ask if there's a second.
All right, David seconds, all right, roll call vote, David?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Dessa?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
My vote is yes.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to say that we all voted yes, that we only did because sometimes that's presented as a no, but this is a yes, it only was, just for clarification.
Thank you, thank you. Any other business now?
No, sir.
I have a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Motion made, seconded. David?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Dessa?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
My vote is yes.